People who know me will say that I can sometimes be kinda lazy. So I needed something that would get me off the couch and moving again. I did a quick search on YouTube, and I wasn't surprised when a ton of challenges popped up, specifically step challenges. 10,000 steps seemed too easy. 15,000 steps made more sense, but of course I'm crazy and I overdo everything, so I decided to do the 20,000 step challenge. In the last 3 years, I've only walked 20,000 steps 2 times. I wanted a real challenge, and spoilers, I got it. 20,000 steps a day is around 8 to 10 miles. This depends on the length of your stride, and my 20,000 steps averaged around 9.5 miles. I also knew that my typical speed for walking a mile was around 17 to 20 minutes. So I decided to walk 3 miles 2 times a day, once first thing in the morning, and the second a little after lunch. Each walk would take me about an hour and get me around 6,000 steps a walk. 2 hours of walking a day was a lot, but it was doable. I felt pretty good about it. By 2 or 3 p.m. I'd have around 12,000 steps. And I could get the rest of the steps by just doing normal things around the house. Yeah, that didn't work. The morning of day 1, I was really pumped and motivated to start. Not even 20-degree weather could put a damper on my spirits. But I slightly miscalculated. After a good morning walk and an even better afternoon walk, at 8 p.m. I was still 1,000 steps shy of the goal. So, reluctantly, I got on some warm clothes and I walked around my neighborhood at night. It is 8:30 right now. It's like 28 degrees outside and there's 15-mile-an-hour winds, and I have to go outside and walk, which sucks. 9 o'clock, and we just hit the 20,000. When the same thing happened on day 2, I realized that although my 2 early walks were getting me over 12,000 steps, I was just sitting too much because of my work and not getting nearly enough extra steps. I was also tired of taking pitch black, freezing walks to end the day. I gotta figure something out because I don't want to have to do that again. No more nights of going out late walking. I just made it tonight because it's 11:22 and I'm only 16 steps over 20,000. I increased my morning walk to 4 miles and I added in a 2-mile walk after dinner. With one problem solved, another one popped up in the morning. I feel pretty bad actually. My ankles, both ankles are really sore. I'm gonna have to do some stretching today, and I should have done some stretching like each day. I don't know why. I hate stretching. And hopefully that will kind of loosen me up enough to get the 20,000 steps. So I added in 10 minutes of stretching in the morning, and that seemed to help. On day 4, I really started to hit my stride, but I was also starting to get worried. How was I going to keep this up for another 26 days, especially when my kids were coming back next week? Decided to mix it up today, and I'm walking Duke University, and because I'm going to be working most of the afternoon and I'll be sitting down at my computer, I'm going to try to get in a 6 or 7 mile walk today. I ended the week strong, but now it was time for the real challenge to begin. I planned it so I would have the first week to prioritize walking and hitting my goal, but now my priorities would be shifting back to my kids. And sometimes life gets in the way. Day number 8, and I dropped the kids off at school. I had plans to go out and walk, and instead, car has some issues, have to take it into the shop. So I had to drive 30 minutes to the dealership, and now I'm waiting about 4 hours to get the brakes fixed. So I could be sitting inside right now in one of their nice leather chairs, drinking some coffee with about 50 other people. But instead I went and found somewhere close by that I could get the steps in. When something bad happens like that, and like usually I would just kind of pout inside, and now I'm trying to take advantage of this time, because I know I got 4 hours to walk. Get 20,000 steps in right now while I got a chance, because when I get home, I'm not going to have any time. I'm going to be catching up on everything I missed. If I learned nothing else from this challenge, it's you're going to take advantage of what life throws at you. And so I'm taking advantage of it. I cut through Monday, and the rest of the week was a struggle, but I was getting in the steps. And then it happened. My kids had a day off of school. I thought, okay, I have a plan. Needless to say, my plan went down the toilet. In the initial draft of the script, I wrote out a long explanation as to what happened. But let's just say a combination of record high temperatures, hot and tired kids, and a bunch of other things led to me just throwing in the towel. Instead of making excuses, I decided to just add another day to the end and keep going. I made it through the last 2 days, and it was on to week 3. I hoped this would be the only mishap of the challenge. Now that I was back by myself, it was easy to make walking a priority again. The only thing that slowed me down this week was the rain. And it was relentless. Yeah, I should have brought the umbrella or raincoat, but it was just sprinkling when I went out there, and halfway into my walk, it just pours. My shoes got soaked, my socks got soaked, and my feet are just pruned up and not feeling good. So I should have more steps by 7 o'clock, but obviously I'm an idiot. I was soaked for the majority of the week, but I made it through with little incident, and it was on to week 4. I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. No, that was a train heading right for me. I got over 20,000 on Monday, but I missed the step goal for Tuesday. Then Wednesday and Thursday as well. I can't find the time to fit in all of the walking I need to do, especially the evenings where there's a lot of activities. I end up just driving around to soccer practice, to dance, and I hate it because I feel like I'm making so many excuses, and I don't know if I'm gonna keep doing this or not. I don't know. When Easter weekend hit, I had all but given up, and I'd moved on to other video ideas. I was really embarrassed and disappointed in myself. I didn't even make it halfway through the challenge. I was on day 12 and I was already having issues. And I just didn't want to upload the video anymore. Most people who upload challenge videos on YouTube, they actually succeed in the challenge. And here I'd already failed. But I started to think about an interview that I watched last week from Colin Samir. They interviewed Mark Rober and his thoughts on failure. I think Mark and engineers in general look at failure in a unique way. Whereas I would be somebody who would say, I'm done, I'm not going to do this anymore, I'm going to move on to something else. Mark takes it and says, okay, I didn't get it right that time, I'm going to learn from this, I'm going to find a way to make this work, or I'm going to find a way to improve on this failure. That was really inspiring for me because I'm pretty old and I still don't look at failure in the right way. And I don't think society looks at it in the right way either, because in schools, whenever we don't do well on a test or we have a bad grade, we're usually punished for it. Mark had a really good analogy in that interview where he talked about something he calls the Super Mario effect. And because I'm a huge gamer, that really resonated for me. In video games, especially when we first started playing Mario Brothers on the NES, I was actually 4 years old at that time. You ran into that first enemy and you died. But most people didn't stop playing the video game. We just learned how to play it better. Every time we died, we learned, okay, jump over the enemy, or get some speed to jump over the pit. And it's all of those combined failures that we learned how to become better at something. And in the end, I needed to embrace the failure. And I'm hoping by uploading this video, not only can I learn something from this, but other people out there will as well. It might be a failure, but I'm gonna learn from it. I took Easter weekend off with my kids and decided to give it one more go. I had 10 days that I was missing. So I added those days onto the calendar, and I started back on Monday. I was able to bulldoze through week 5 with newfound motivation. Then Sunday came and my kids were back with me. I had just 2 days left to reach 30 days. No cars broke down, no heat waves came through, and no days off of school. I was able to get the last 1,000 steps around 9 p.m. on Tuesday. So after 37 days, I've walked a total of 677,744 steps, or 315.35 miles. I might not have done 30 days straight, but that's okay. I still finished. I didn't give up and let failure be the end of one of my goals yet again. The big question is, should you try this challenge too? Honestly, I wouldn't recommend it. The challenge itself definitely gets you moving, but the time commitment is insane. Do a 12,000 or 15,000 step challenge instead. I feel like you could get very similar benefits from those. I talked about Mark Rober earlier on in this video, and that interview that he did really inspired me to take a deeper look at failure and how it affects all of us, and how engineers and people like Mark use it in a positive way. So check out this video here if you're interested in taking your own failures and putting a positive spin on them. I'll also talk even more about Mark's Super Mario effect. Wishing you all the best, and I'll see you later.